Hello and welcome. Today we're jumping right into one of the most foundational stories ever told, the origin of Moses. We're going to trace his journey from a baby sentenced to death to a prince of Egypt and then, somehow, to a fugitive on the run.
But this isn't just a history lesson. As we go, I want you to hold on to this one question. What forges a leader? Is it destiny? Is it just a series of choices? Or is it being thrown into some pretty unbelievable circumstances? All right, let's get into it. The story kicks off not with a hero, but with a newborn baby in immediate, mortal danger. So, the setting here is just brutal. The Pharaoh of Egypt has given a horrifying order. Every single newborn Hebrew boy must be killed. That means from the very second he's born, Moses has a death sentence hanging over his head. His mother, though, she defies this. She sees her son, and for 3 nail-biting months, she hides him away.
But, you can't hide a growing baby forever. Once she can't hide him anymore, she comes up with this plan that is just so desperate but also kind of brilliant. She weaves a little basket, almost like a tiny ark, and makes it waterproof. Then she puts her son inside and places him carefully in the reeds of the river. And this is the key part. She has his sister watch from a distance. This isn't her abandoning him. No way. It's a calculated last-ditch gamble to save his life.
And then, you just can't make this up. The one person who finds this baby is the daughter of the very Pharaoh who wants him dead. The text says she opens the basket, the baby starts crying, and she just feels compassion for him. Right there, in that one moment, a simple human emotion completely overrules a royal death sentence.
And this is where his sister proves to be an absolute genius. She's been watching the whole time, she sees the princess's heart melt, and she just seizes the moment. She walks right up and asks this question. She's not just offering to help, she's basically engineering a miracle.
So of course the princess says yes. And who does the sister go get? The baby's own mother. So now Moses' mom is actually getting paid by the royal family to nurse her own son. The baby is saved and he's back with his mother. The princess then adopts him and names him Moses, or Moshe in Hebrew. And his name literally means drawn out, because as she says, I drew him out of the water. His whole identity is tied to that moment of rescue.
So, this miraculous rescue sets the stage for the massive conflict of his young adult life. He's safe, he's a prince, but his story gets really complicated from here.
And this is the core of it, right? He's got this total split identity. On the one hand, he's being raised as Egyptian royalty, living in a palace with every privilege you can imagine. But on the other hand, he knows where he came from. The text says he would go out to his brethren and look on their suffering. He feels this deep, personal connection to his enslaved people. He's a man literally caught between two worlds.
That kind of internal tug of war can't go on forever. Sooner or later, something's got to give. And in this next part of the story, his two worlds don't just meet, they collide. Violently.
One day, he's out and he sees it happen with his own eyes. An Egyptian slave driver is beating a Hebrew worker, one of his people. Moses looks around, sees that nobody's watching, and he snaps. He steps in, kills the Egyptian, and buries the body in the sand. It's a shocking, impulsive move, and it's the moment he finally, and very definitively, picks a side.
Now, Moses probably thought he was some kind of hero, a secret savior. But the very next day, he gets a brutal reality check. He sees 2 Hebrews fighting and tries to break it up, and one of them just turns on him and says this. In a single sentence, Moses realizes 2 absolutely terrifying things. 1, his secret is out. And 2, the very people he tried to protect, they don't see him as one of them. They see him as an outsider.
Well, after that, it was only a matter of time. The news reaches Pharaoh, who, of course, wants Moses executed for murder. Just like that, his life as a prince is over. For the second time in his life, he has a death sentence over his head. His only option is to run.
So that brings us to the next chapter. Moses flees Egypt with nothing and ends up as a total stranger in a foreign land called Midian, where he has to build a new life from the ground up.
His new life starts, fittingly, at a well. While he's there, he sees some local shepherds trying to drive away 7 sisters who are trying to water their flock. And what does he do? The same thing he did in Egypt. He sees an injustice and he can't just stand by. He jumps in, defends the women, and even helps them. And this one act of kindness gets him an invitation to their home.
And for the first time, really, he finds a place where he's accepted. Their father, a priest, welcomes him, and Moses agrees to stay. He ends up marrying one of the daughters he saved, a woman named Zipporah. The prince, who became a fugitive, now becomes a husband and soon after a father. He's found a new home, a new family, a quiet life, far away from all the drama of Egypt.
But even with this new life, you can tell the past still haunts him. Because when his first son is born, he names him Gershom. The name literally means a stranger there. And the reason he gives is just heartbreaking. For I have been a stranger in a foreign land. His own son's name is a constant reminder of his feeling of being in exile, totally displaced.
And while Moses is off building this new, quiet life as a shepherd in Midian, the story cuts back to Egypt for one final ominous detail. The Pharaoh who wanted Moses dead dies, but nothing changes for the Hebrews. Their suffering actually gets worse. They groan under the weight of their slavery, and the text says their cries for help finally reach God. Moses may have escaped, but for his people, the story is far from over.
Which brings us all the way back to where we started. When you look at his story, saved from death, raised as a prince, forced into exile by his own sense of justice, now living as a stranger, what do you think? Was his leadership always in him, or was he forged into the man he was destined to become by this incredible, painful, and transformative journey? It's a lot to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explain.